Hi everyone, my name's Melissa and I will be doing my first makeup tutorial today. I am going to stick with an eye makeup tutorial and I will be using the Wet n Wild 8-pan palette in Petal Pusher. This is a very inexpensive palette. You can find these at Walgreens. I believe Rite Aid has them. I think I picked this one up at Kmart and they're less than $5. You get 8 beautiful shades for less than $5. So this will be a tutorial on using half of this palette, these 4 shades on this side. And this is the finished look here. And let's get started. Hope you like it. Okay, so let's get started with our tutorial. As I said, I will be using the Wet n Wild 8-pan palette, and this is in the color Petal Pusher. I will be using this half of the palette. There's 2 sides to it, and they coordinate the shades. So you can use these 4 together, these 4 together, or you can kind of mix and match. I used this palette the other day, and I mixed and matched from both sides. So I'll be using these ones, and what's really neat about these palettes is that they specify exactly what they are. Now mine's kind of worn down there, but it says brow bone, eyelid, crease, and definer. So there's no questions. You know exactly what you're using each color for, which makes it really convenient. And these colors, I'll just swatch all of them for you. You can see that they're very pigmented. This is the first color. It's a chalkier white. It's not really metallic. It's more of a matte white. Let's see if that'll focus. Not quite focusing, but this is a little bit pinker of a white. Then you have this really pretty iridescent type purple. And then the last is an iridescent blue. And these last 2 are kind of showing up pretty similar, but you see this one's a little bit more purple and this one's a little bit more blue. So we are going to go ahead and get started. So what I always do is start with a primer, and I am going to use the Fergie Wet n Wild primer. You don't have to use Wet n Wild's primer just because you're using Wet n Wild eyeshadows. You can use any primer that you want. I also have the e.l.f. eyelid primer, and I use this one quite a bit too. This one is $1, so I use that one quite a bit. But today I'm just going to use this one. I happen to like this one. I find a little bit creamier than the other one is. So I just put a little dab on my finger, very little, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of get it on there. I kind of go on both sides with it, and then I smudge it out. If I need a little bit more, I take just a dab more. And I do all over, all up into the brow bone, all in here. Just make sure you get it. You can even do into the corner a little bit, and even if you want to do under the eye. Now I've already done my face makeup, and you can do, some people do their eye makeup first and then their face makeup, or you can do your face makeup first then your eye makeup. Today I happen to do my face makeup first, and then I will do the eye makeup for the tutorial. So the first step I'm going to do is take my e.l.f. Professional eyeshadow brush. This is what it looks like. This brush is $1 from e.l.f. and it's the perfect round brush to pat in the eyeshadow. And I'm going to take this color here for the eyelid. It's kind of a pink purple. It's a little bit matte looking. And I'm going to take my brush right into there, and I kind of rub it in there, get a good amount on the brush, and I'm going to pat this into my eyelid. So I'm just going to go in and pat, 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 pat. I find that patting it in just helps it set into the primer better than like rubbing it in like you would. So get some more on the brush. And pat, pat, pat. And I get all the way into the corner and up around the whole eyelid. So you can see I did the entire eyelid in this first color. And then what I'm going to end up doing is blending it out a little bit. So I just kind of have that all set there. You can see. Next step, I am going to take just kind of a, any kind of brush. It can be this one. I don't know where I got this one, but this is similar to the e.l.f. brush that I just used. It's very flexible. And what I'm going to be doing is putting color up into here. So I just kind of wanted a soft brush to do that with. and I'm going to take this top color here, the brow bone, and I'm going to pat into that. And this I want to do softly. I make sure I tap this off because I don't want it to be like, whoa, white. So I'm just going to kind of pat this up in here too. And this one, more so I kind of brush in rather than patting. And just kind of get that up in there. This is your highlight. And same thing on the other side. Whoa, I did that one really dark. And then if you notice it's too much, you can kind of just blend it out a little bit with your fingers. The next step is I'm going to do the contour in the eye, in the crease of the eye. And I'm going to use my crease brush from Essence. And this is what this looks like. This is a really cool brush. It's tapered at the top. So it's really good for getting in that crease and to pull the color in there and then to kind of buff it out a little bit. This is one of my favorite crease brushes. I do have another one. This one, the Essence one, is sold at CVS, I believe. The other one that I have is the e.l.f. contour brush, which looks like this. And this is also a really good crease brush. The difference between the two is if you take a look at it, the Essence one has a tapered tip and the e.l.f. one is more of a dome tip to it. When I'm using a crease color that's very dark, I use the tip one because it gives me a little bit more control with the color. So since this color here is very dark and very pigmented, I'm going to use this one. I do use the other one with some lighter shades when I do the crease, but for this instant, I'm going to use the tapered one. So I'm going to barely put this in there because you can always build more color. It is a little bit trickier to try to get the color out if you like totally overdo it. So I'm going to get this in here and I just kind of tap it, roll it in there, and then I'm going to tap it out because I don't want too much. I'm going to pull my eye so that I kind of get this kind of shape so I can see my whole eyelid, and I'm going to go right into this corner here, right into the corner crease. And where your brush touches first, that's where the most product's going to go. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to pull it out and I'm just going to kind of start to gently buff it into there. Just kind of rub it in. And then as the color starts to show on the lid, I'm going to start to pull it, out more, up more, I'll pull it. And I'm just kind of doing little circles here. So it's almost doing a buffing motion and pulling it out and around. And you can see there I started getting some of the darker color. And I'm going to go in on the other side. Now I kind of start it first. This isn't how I'm going to finish it, but I get the kind of the shape and the movement of it first, and I go to the other eye and I'll do the same thing. One eye always is a little bit easier. I tend to do this eye a little bit faster and easier. Kind of buff it out, buff it out. And then I also take it kind of like from the corner of my eye up, almost like you would a wing, I kind of pull that a little bit also. So I started, you can see, to get the shape there. And then my next step is I'm going to go in again with it. And so I swirl it in, tap, tap, tap. And now I'm going to start to create a little bit more of what I'm looking for. So I can go a little bit heavier on the hand. And you'll see it's kind of getting a little bit smokier, a little bit grayer looking out in the corner, and then lighter towards the inside, which is what I was going for. And then I will pull it up and out to kind of give it that smoky flare. And see it's kind of coming up and out like that. And the same thing on the other side. Now sometimes I notice that they're not quite even, or I'll have a little bit of a harsher line. So you'll be surprised of how much gets left on your brush. So even if you don't have to tap it back in, but what you can do is just kind of buff it out and just pull it, and you'll collect some of what's already on your eye and what's already on your brush, and you can just kind of buff it out. Then I'm going to take my fluffy brush, and this is the e.l.f. Professional Blending Eye Brush, and this is a very soft brush. It has longer bristles. It's different than the contour brush. As you can see, this is the contour brush. So the blending brush is bigger and the contour brush is a harder. It's stiffer bristles. This is really flexible. So what I'm going to do with this is going to buff out any harsh lines. You don't want it to look like you have a streak of purple or any other color for that matter in your eye. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to buff it out just to soften it a little bit. This will also help me pull some color out to create that smokiness towards the outside. Okay, and that's pretty much the look I'm going for, if you can see it there. So that's the look with the eyeshadow that I wanted. And just like that. Okay, so the next step is we're going to hold off. We're going to stay away from the pan for a minute. But I'm going to take my e.l.f. $1 eyelash curler. This is an awesome eyelash curler and it is only $1. You can find it at your Target or Kmart or off of the Eyes Lips Face website. It has a really big mouth on it, which is good. It's very springy. It has an extra grippy for your finger. So it just is a really good eyelash curler. So I'm going to take this right to my eyelashes. I have kind of long eyelashes. I don't curl them twice. Some people will do 2 crimps on it. I just do the one right at the base. But you can do the 2 if that's what you need to or that's what you like to do. Okay. Next, I am going to do my eyeliner. And I am going to be using today my Almay Intense Eye Color. Almay Intense Eye Color. And I have this in shade 003 Black Pearl. This is a mechanical eyeliner. And like most of the mechanical eyeliners, they have the sharpener on the bottom, which is really good. This is one of my favorite ones. I've been using this one for years, so I just like the black of it. I don't know if it's waterproof or not, but it does last, and it is a very good eyeliner. So I'm going to take this along the top and halfway into the bottom. So I start in the middle. I don't like to start in the corner because, like with the brushes, where you touch initially is where the most product is going to go, and I don't want a heavy line in my corner. So I start in the middle and then I kind of work my way out and in. So we'll start right about here. And I'm going to go to the end. And right on this side. Now I'm not doing anything fancy, no wings or anything like that. I'm just keeping it kind of simple. But I do bring it to the base of my lash line, right there. And then I do the other side. And the inside. Okay. Then I'm going to go in, same eyeliner, and I'm going to do in my waterline, and I only do about halfway into my waterline. So I'm going to go just like that, and I make sure they connect. And any adjustments that need to be made, any spots that you kind of miss, but I think that looks pretty good. Next, I am going to do my, I'm going to do underneath in the definer color that's on here. So I am going to take my Essence of Beauty, and this is also a crease brush, but this one's very small, and this is also tapered. This is the one that I used for my crease when I did it, and this is the one that I'm using for underneath. So you can see it is exactly like it, except smaller. So it has the tapered end. It's a little bit stiffer. I mean, this one's pretty stiff. This one's a little bit stiffer. And for this instant, I'm going to be going right under here with it. So I just wanted something that has a tapered tip. I do have another one. This is this is the e.l.f. smudge brush, and you can see this is kind of a flat tip, which can be very good for getting in there. But for this instance, I just like the tapered tip of this one. So I'm going to go back into my pan, and I'm going to go into this bottom color here, which is the definer. So this is the little bit bluish hue to it. And again, very gently, because these are really pigmented, is I'm going to kind of just tap it in, tap it out, and then I'm going to go right along my lash line, kind of right under in here with it. And very delicately just pull it out. And I kind of go out to the edge a little bit. Okay, and same thing on the other side. Always open our mouths, right? Because it makes our eyes bigger. I don't know. One of those weird things. Okay, so I got that. Okay, last step, mascara. So I will be using today my CoverGirl Clump Crusher Mascara, and I just picked this up a couple days ago, so I've been trying it out. I've used other CoverGirls, the Lash Flash Fusion, which I'm a big fan of, and I've heard a lot of good things about the Clump Crusher, so I want to give it a shot. I have this in the darkest one. It's the very black. I have dark eyelashes, so I use the very black. And the wand on this is your typical rubber wand. It's curved. It has a lot of bristles on it, and I think that's part of the clump crushing, I guess, to make sure that it separates and defines all the eyelashes so that you don't have any clumps on them. So I'm going to get right in there. We already curled them, and I'm just going to start getting the mascara on there. I kind of blink down onto it. I lower my eyelashes, and then I kind of blink and pull and really get it in there. And get the other side. And I'm going to go back in for another coat. And I have this in the waterproof one. Oops, I have a little makeup on my face. I have this in the waterproof. I always buy waterproof mascaras. Just, I have eyes that tear pretty easily. So I just want to make sure I have waterproof mascaras and eyeliners. Okay. Now for my bottom lashes, I heard about the Maybelline Lash Discovery. Looks like this. Maybelline Lash Discovery. And again, I have this in very black. And what's really cool about this, I started only using this on my bottom lashes. The brush is a teeny tiny little brush. You see how teeny tiny that is? I mean, if you look at the CoverGirl brush, look at how big that brush is. And then you got the Lash brush one, this teeny tiny little guy. So what's good about this, because it's the Lash Discovery, if it's made to get to the small lashes. So I use this on the bottom where your lashes are typically smaller. And I don't particularly like the look on myself of like big lashes on top and bottom. So I like to use this one where it just kind of defines the lashes on the bottom, gives them a little bit of darkness, especially when you're putting product down there, it can kind of cover the lashes. So it'll just coat them black and gives them a little bit of length, but they're not clumping together. They're not, you know, getting outrageously long. So I'm going to just get this right on the bottom, and I just kind of sweep it down onto them just to give a little bit of definition right in there. And it's good because it's easy to get into the corner and get every little last lash. So that is the eye look. Here you go. Hope you guys liked it, and I hope you enjoyed my first video. Thanks!